In this episode of Highlight Sundays, 4K TV, YouTube, and Android ransomware. Hello and welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 26th week of 2013 and here are your highlights. We start off with our PSA of the week from geek.com entitled Fake Android Antivirus App Holds Phones Hostage for $100. Now according to the article, this information actually comes from Symantec, who are of course known for making antivirus software. Now according to them, they've actually come across this piece of software for Android called Android Defender Platinum. Now in case you're getting worried, well don't be, because this isn't actually a piece of software you can get off Google Play. It is actually something that is site-loaded, so as long as you don't actually, download APK files and install from untrusted sources, you should be fine. Of course, it pretends to be an actual antivirus program, so it will pretend to scan your system and tell you that, well, there are malware in your system, and that is when it actually charges you for a hefty fee. It actually asks you if you want to pay a certain amount of money to actually, get rid of the stuff on your phone. And if you refuse because you're actually given the option, well, this antivirus program is going to keep giving you pop-ups and other kinds of prompts. So well, I guess the moral of the story is don't go around downloading APK files. If you feel like you want an antivirus program for your phone, go to Google Play. You have quite a few choices to choose from. Our next article is an interesting one from lifehacker.com. And it's entitled My 7-Day Workweek Experiment and Why I Won't Stick to It. So of course this is a blog style article instead of actual news, and of course this is done by one of the writers of Lifehacker. As the title implies, he actually experimented with a 7-day work week. It doesn't mean you work full 8 hours a day for 7 days a week that will kill you. His idea is this: instead of working a full day for 5 days and then resting 2 full days before continuing the cycle, what he's doing is he's working less every day. So it's kind of like grabbing your weekend and spreading it out throughout the week. If you actually head down to the article, you can see quite a detailed breakdown of what he does throughout his day. So things like work and rest time are all kind of scheduled into pretty clear compartments. Of course, in order to spread out your weekend throughout the week, you will of course rest more every day. So of course, this Lifehacker writer actually persisted with this for some time and eventually came to the conclusion that it's not entirely optimal, it's not something he could live with in the long term. And to actually round off his conclusion, he actually gave quite a detailed breakdown of what it's like to be doing the 7-day work week. Now, I'm not actually going to go very deep into detail, so I do encourage you to check out the article in the video description. One of his more interesting enlightenments from doing this experiment was the fact that he burned out despite the fact that he had a lot of breaks. He highlights the value of actually having a full day of rest, and well, I guess that's true. At the end of the article, he also proposes a separate experiment, which involves a 6-day work, 1-day rest cycle. When I read this article, I kind of evaluated a few things about, working and resting. So yeah, it's just kind of illuminating to read an article like this and to sort of, think of our routine, the way it works and what it's doing to us. So once again, I highly encourage you to check out the original article in the video description. Moving on back to news, this article from Gizmodo is entitled This 39-inch 4K TV only costs $700. Now before you get too excited, this TV is actually made by a manufacturer called Seiki, so it is nothing, extremely amazing, the likes of Sony. Having said that, this is still good news because it is lowering the bar in terms of prices for 4K TVs. Of course, we all know that 4K is the new incoming trend. It's not really taken too much root just yet, for consumer use at least. But things are definitely pushing towards that direction, and it's good to see prices already starting to drop on this front. Personally, I welcome 4K technology with open arms, especially in cameras, because that's what I love. So yeah, I hope this means more and more 4K stuff at lower prices, and hopefully this will mean that more and more 4K equipment is going to move into mass consumer usage. For those of you interested in this $700 4K TV, pre-orders start 27th June. Our last article for the day concerns you and me, well, because it involves YouTube. This article comes from New Media Rockstars and is entitled YouTube plans to eliminate video buffering once and for all as early as July 4th. This of course is a massive undertaking, and this article actually goes on to explain some of the strategies that YouTube will be taking to make this possible. I'm going to very quickly summarize the 3 things that were mentioned in the article, the first being parallel processing, which means that instead of setting up your video player and the download step by step, it's going to do it all at once. The second step is to not actually throw out everything when you switch from one video to another. You see, apparently, things like the video player and the structure of the web page in general doesn't change. However, every time you click from one video to another, all of these things are thrown out and reloaded. This of course takes up time, and YouTube actually wants to prevent this from happening by actually only swapping out the video and not the contents. The third step relies on an important prerequisite, and that is, it actually expects you to click on a suggested video. You see, what happens is YouTube is going to preload suggested videos before you even, browse to those videos. That will of course save you some time, because when you click one of them, well, the video is already partly loaded. Now here's the deal. If we were to actually, look closely at these 3 steps, sure, they are useful, but honestly, I don't know how helpful they're gonna be. When the videos I watch buffers, well, the cause is pretty simple. YouTube just isn't sending data fast enough. That's not to say I don't have a fast connection. I have a 15 megabit per second connection, and YouTube never uses up more than 2 to 4 megabits per second. So honestly, if you ask me what there is to improve, that is the thing you really want to look at. Having said that, I'm interested to see, the impact of the changes that YouTube is going to roll out. As always, source link in the video description. You can read it to go into greater detail about, their strategies. And that's it. That's all there is for this episode of Highlight Sundays. If you have any comments, queries, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the official Twitter for this channel at twitter.com/0612tv. As always, I appreciate every like, favorite, and subscription you give me. But until next time, you are watching 0612TV.